Hi, my name's Harry Dewulf, it's 10 PM on a Friday, that's a green screen, and this is Answer Later. I'm answering questions on my A2A and Answer Later feed on Quora.com. If you want me to answer your question, just send me an answer request on Quora.com or leave me a comment underneath this video. Tonight's drink, in one of my, let's hide the branding on it, but tonight's drink is alcohol-free pastis. I already had a beer earlier on, and I didn't want to cause myself to slur my words too much or otherwise spoil the brilliant answers that are coming to these questions that you can see behind me already. The first of which, why do people have such strong opinions about the Oxford comma? There are already quite a lot of answers on this question, as you might imagine, but the vast majority of the answers explain the reasons why the Oxford comma is either very good or reasons why it's very bad, or the reasons why there might be some conflict or controversy in its use or non-use. But no answer addresses the question of why people have such strong opinions about the Oxford comma. And the reason why people have such strong opinions, largely, I think, is because of what we call the Oxford comma. We call it the Oxford comma. It's not, as I understand it, named after Oxford in the United Kingdom, but of the town of the same name in the United States, if there is one. In any case, it is a punctuation and nicety that is much more popular in the United States. But the reason why people feel very strongly about it is for the, I was going to say very simple reason, but it isn't simple. It is very cultural, and it is that people are very concerned about appearing uneducated. And this is much, much more so today in the United States than in the United Kingdom. Once upon a time it was very important in the United Kingdom as well. But people in general are concerned about appearing to be uneducated. And many people believe that one of the easiest ways to reveal that you are uneducated is to make mistakes in your rules of grammar, syntax, and punctuation. And as a result, people become very anxious. They become very anxious to show that they can use punctuation correctly. And that anxiety often leads to people, in fact, being anxious to show that they've recognized when other people have used it incorrectly. And so, when people see what they believe to be an Oxford comma used where none is needed, or an Oxford comma used, or an Oxford comma not used where one should have been, that will trigger their anxiety, will trigger their desire to show that they do not lack education, to show that they do not lack intelligence, in order to ensure that they are not misjudged by others, and as a result, they will speak up about what they perceive to be an error. Is there an error? My personal belief about the Oxford comma, which is a comma used in a list, is exactly the same as with any other comma. And that is that you should use a comma when not using one. Either results in the sentence not meaning what you intend it to mean, or results in the sentence having an ambiguous meaning. If you can achieve the meaning you intend without ambiguity, without a comma, then you don't need a comma. If, on the other hand, you can't, then either you need it. If you can't and adding a comma solves the problem, then you need a comma. If adding the comma might solve the problem but you're not sure, then probably what you need to do is rethink the whole sentence. So, just got time for one more. Let's have a look. Excuse me. I want to write a book, but I have cliché characters. How do I get different characters? Gosh. To be perfectly honest, if this is your first book or any of your first 3 books and your characters seem to be clichés, then you're already doing pretty well. A cliché is something which is very commonly used, perhaps overused, but in order to be such, they have to be sufficiently realised that they can be recognised as a cliché. And what that means is that your characters at least have the beginnings of depth to them. And so it's a good sign that they seem like clichés to you. So what you should be doing is just looking for ways of deepening them a little bit. And this is going to depend on how many characters you have. If you have a large number of characters in your book, then you're not going to be able to deepen them very much. The thing to do is to pick 1, 2, maybe 3 at the outside characters who you consider to be the most important, and give them extra depths that will, in some way, make them seem different from the cliché. In fact, they need not be depths, they can be shallows. If you have a character who is a bit of a cliché, but you decide, let's say, that he has an especially decorative moustache, and that he likes to take time out from more important things in order to make sure that his moustache is fine, you'll soon find that it interferes with the story and it becomes a non-cliché character feature, even though it seems very shallow. But ultimately, if you do have these characters that are recognisable as clichés, then at least you're going to be able to work with them, you're going to be able to use them to convey your story. That's going to give you the opportunity to practice writing your story. If you feel that your characters are a cliché, that may mean that writing characters is a weakness of yours, but the advantage of there being a cliché is that it's not a weakness that's going to get in the way of completing the story. And completing the story is going to be the most important and most valuable practice for you. So, it's good that your characters are clichés. You can vary them a little. What helps, it's helping you to get through to the end of your book, of your story, and when you've finished your story, you will have in fact completed something, and all of that will be experience that you will be able to take on to the next one. When you are learning to write fiction, it is tremendously important to simply get a volume of words down to get stories finished. That's what's going to make you get better. Trying to make every single book as good as it can possibly be is only going to slow down your progress. If you want your next book to be significantly better, your primary goal must be to finish your current book. And I do not think that cliché characters are going to get in your way of doing that. And that's my time up. So I hope you found these answers useful. Thanks for watching and good night.